we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On today's Pop Culture Cosmos, I just dropped earlier today. Go ahead and check it out wherever you get your podcasts. I and the great guys from the Super BS Gamescast talk about what video games are coming up this year and what video games we think will also be coming out this year and which ones may slide into 2026. Go ahead and check it out today, wherever you get your podcasts. I know I got a request to go ahead and talk about David Lynch, so when I get a chance, I will be talking about David Lynch in an upcoming episode as well. Rest in peace, David Lynch. Excellent filmmaker indeed. But also as well, of course, Stone Hansen's here with me. Go ahead and check out what he's doing in regards to the NBA draft, not only with the Upside Swings NBA draft podcast, but his social media on Blue Sky. Look for Stone Hansen. It's right there for you. I can't do that. I'm on Blue Sky as well, Stone, but that trying to figure out those handles, yeah, that's something they have to work on. Oh, you're silent, by the way. Just want to let you know. I think you need to redo the replug-in thing on Talk Studio. There you go. I think you're good now. There you go. Absolutely indeed. But also as well is Stone Hansen at report_court on Twitter. Go ahead and check out his thoughts on the upcoming NBA draft. Go ahead and check it out today by following him on Twitter. Also as well, our good friends, Alfred Esmond and Legend350. Big shout out to those guys. Hopefully I get them on for some more NBA observations. Also, Mike Anguilano covers the Cavs and the Pistons. Want to go ahead and see if I can have an upcoming conversation with him as well. Joe Soros should be coming on any minute now. He is Oxide247 at LakersBall.com. His game, but you need to go ahead and check out Corrupt, Curupt on Steam. And of course, his company for new law that he will transform for you right away if you lived in, well, he said California, he said Nevada, he said Arizona, he said all those West Coast states. Cost you a little more though because he has to travel. But if you're interested, Simblades with a Y.com. Also, as well, of course, our good friends Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5. Don't forget also as well Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo, all these great places. Please like and subscribe, but don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe with us. We're almost at 2050 on our subscriber base, so go ahead and help us out. We like more subscribers if we can, please. We want to get to the big boys of the Lakers podcast because all those Lakers podcasts are bland, they're dull, they're bleh. Come on. Put us up in the highlights by getting us today a like, subscribe, and also become a member today to get videos, articles, and more. Go ahead and check it out today by becoming a member for just $2.99 a month. It's a great value indeed. From all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, Lakers, after that successful win in Golden State, really started heading out on the road. They hopped all the way over on the east side of the country, heading over to North Carolina to go ahead and see what they can do in Charlotte. And it started off great. Absolutely great. I think it was a 31-9, I think, at one point in time. Yes, the largest lead for the Lakers in the first quarter was 23. They got up to a huge, comfortable lead. Got off to, I think it was a 39-19 in that first quarter overall. And I'll tell you what, it was looking really easy for the Lakers. Of course, their star player on Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, he tweaked his ankle. So he was out for the entire game. And knowing Charlotte, he'll be out the entire year for that. But be that as it may, you thought, oh, it's going to be an easy game. This is exactly what the doctor ordered. But this is the Los Angeles Lakers of 2024-2025. As the Lakers, again, played with their food and kept the Charlotte Hornets in the game as the Charlotte Hornets came back almost all the way. But it was a fake comeback indeed as the Lakers did finally put them away at the very end, but it took all 48 minutes this time around as the Lakers win 112-107. The Lakers now are still fifth place in the Western Conference, but again, their standings right now, as of right now, they are 26-18, 8 games above 500. They are almost in the positive point differential. They're at negative 1.1, so they've still got to go ahead and some work to do, but they did win 4 in a row heading into Philly tomorrow. the date with the 76ers. And here today to discuss today's game, today's victory. It's a good man indeed. It is, of course, the mastermind behind his great place to go on Twitter at report_court. It is, of course, Stone Hansen. Stone, great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Long time no see. Welcome to 2025. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you.
A very successful one for you and the gang at the Upside Swings. Your thoughts on today's game? I know that Doobie's been a long-time listener and follower of us, and it's like, still, even when our long-time listeners and followers hear what you have to say, it still sometimes comes as a surprise. It shouldn't, but it still sometimes does. But a good victory for the Lakers today, because the Lakers did get out to that nice lead. Unfortunately, they reeled them back in to make it competitive, but still, AD with the monster game today. Was it 42 and 20? Let me go ahead and get it. Actually, it was his was coming up right here. I'll go ahead and get his stats here in a second. But what were your thoughts on today's game with Anthony Davis dominating for the Los Angeles Lakers yet again?
Yeah, I mean, the first quarter was flawless, I thought. It's as flawless as you can be, and AD was a catalyst for that on both ends, really. Had we played like that all night, we probably could have sat him the entire fourth quarter because it was really just looking like a blowout. But I think the Lakers got complacent, got a little lazy, as teams do in these sort of situations when a bad team loses their best player. But even with the coasting, I think, they took care of business. That's all you can really ask for is the win. No matter how ugly or pretty it is, a win is a win. I think our biggest issue started to become the fact that we were only moving on the strong side of the ball, not on the weak side. So we had a lot of issues with trying to hunt mismatches, and it came at the behest of ball movement. When I thought the ball movement could have been a bit better, we could have got better looks rather than hunting these mismatches every time down the court. Defensively, I thought we looked okay for stretches. It sort of was like a peak and valley game for a couple of consecutive sequences. We looked good, and then a couple of consecutive times down the floor, we looked like we just had no effort whatsoever in trying to close out on the perimeter. So it was up and down on that end, but like I said, a win is a win. Ugly or pretty, it still counts the same in the win-loss column, and I'll take it. So 8 over 500 is not something I expected this season, and I'm happy that we're there. So anything on top of that is just icing on the cake for me.
Once again, it is the Los Angeles Lakers. They do win 112 to 107. AD did have a huge game today, 42 and 23. And here today to discuss that game, good man indeed, it is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. We've seen this scenario before. Lakers get out to an early lead, look like they can go ahead and put this one to bed, but they try very hard to bring Charlotte back in the game. I know that there were some good things as far as what you saw out there. The returning Vando, I know that there were some mixed results, pretty good on the defensive end. Offensively, it's a train wreck still yet to happen, like we've seen before. No improvement there. DFS in some spots gave the Lakers positive minutes in that starting role. Your thoughts on where the Lakers stand heading into Philadelphia tomorrow after a victory we've seen before from these guys where they just let these guys back into the game, but ultimately prevail on top against a bad team.
Was that really Stone Hansen that just said that?
What
Stone, is there somebody over there?
What'd I say?
That was the most positive, upbeat.
I haven't been on in a long time, Joe. I'm not trying to get thrown off the show.
Are you sure there's no one behind the camera? Wow,
you'll never be thrown off the show. I'll throw it off Joe first.
Right,
I have.
I'm not trying to get a bunch of haters on me the first night.
It's like Stone's like, I believe this was well. And
Stone, I'll just have to answer him anyways. You'll be gone, and I'll be answering him anyways for days to come.
Cool. Lakers are not contenders.
This was probably the most blatant low IQ game of the year in terms of the overall decision making by LeBron James. And this is not an isolated situation. This isn't end of a road trip, tired, and everyone's just trying to get through it. This is a chronic issue where you're talking about the inability to move the damn ball away from the strong side. Well, it's hard to move the ball when the guy who has the ball isn't moving either. I don't know what the hell LeBron was doing in this game. I don't understand all that genius that I keep getting told about LeBron. You would think that this guy would, at this point, at least manage the least amount of resistance. But he doesn't. He makes it hard on himself and his team. Has anybody ever asked this guy why he shoots the ball randomly for no reason? He doesn't have to do that. And if it's simply that no one knows how to get around a screen or move, isn't that coaching from your apparent genius ball handler or greatest of all time player? I don't get it. I don't understand why this team gets stagnant so much. I don't get it. I'm still waiting for somebody to ask that question. Has anybody ever asked that question? Why does the ball movement continue? Did anybody ask JJ, or are they scared that he's going to yell at him?
Why are we so reliant on isolation with LeBron?
They don't need to be reliant on isolation, especially when you have someone like AD who's a respectable mid-range shooter and can get the ball down low and make something happen. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused on why this continues to happen. But they are lazy. They are a mentally lazy team, and the head lazy guy is LeBron James. LeBron he just shows laziness at its highest level. I don't understand why. But it would have been nice to get a little rest, but I don't know, man. I think we just have to forget about all that rest crap in the NBA these days. It's not going to work anymore. Those days are gone. I just don't think it's going to happen. Tomorrow, apparently Embiid and Paul George are not playing. Is that correct? Anybody confirm that?
Answer. I haven't seen any confirmation on it yet. So
okay,
go ahead. I'll look it up now.
Yeah, look it up, because I'm always a little weary on people not showing up because all of a sudden they're off the injury report as soon as the Lakers are on the schedule.
Bleacher Report is saying, and it said that posted 4 hours ago, that Paul George is out versus the Lakers with an injury, and Joel Embiid will miss the next 2 games. So according to this, they'll be out.
The Lakers have been terrible in Philly the last few years. It would be nice to take advantage of this. I wasn't expecting.
You're awesome.
Thank you, Raphael.
Wow, I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, Raphael just gifted out 10 memberships. Thank you, Raphael. Very kind of you.
You're awesome.
So. Truly appreciate it.
Who's saying that? Who's saying you're awesome?
That's because the new
I know. Who's the guy? Is that us?
I don't know.
One of our guys?
No, that's just a generic. That's awesome. You're awesome.
You're awesome.
See, there you go. So you're going to hear that for the next couple of minutes. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so tomorrow's game would have been nice to have at least LeBron not play, 38 minutes tonight?
You're awesome.
What was it, 38?
Yes, you're awesome.
Yeah, 36. And then Anthony Davis played 37. Can they muster up enough energy to beat Philly without their guns? That's going to be the question.
You're awesome.
Yes, you're still awesome, Joe.
I know I'm awesome.
I think it's going to require some help from the supporting cast.
You're awesome.
I think we're gonna have to have a big Reeves night, and hopefully a couple other role player type guys can step up a bit.
All right,
you're awesome.
Yes, we're awesome. Thank you, Raphael, for the memberships being given out by him. Truly appreciate it. So randomly, YouTube is selecting right now all the memberships.
You're awesome.
So thank you for doing so. Joe, I'll get it back to you because I know you're going to have plenty of time to talk. Also here today, good man indeed. I know he's not going to be able to, like me, to stay here for long. It is, of course, John Costa.
You're
John,
awesome.
great to have you here, Mr. Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. You're awesome, by the way, as well, John. But tonight's victory didn't exactly leave the best taste in our mouths, but hey,
You're
the
awesome.
Lakers continue to win against bad teams, which is what you got to do in order to go ahead and stay alive in the Western Conference, John.
Absolutely, and you know what? It left a bad taste in our mouth, but a win is a win, right? And I can only be so upset on a win. And yeah, hey, yeah, Doobie, I absolutely did take game notes because I do a 2-minute game recap, like I've said so many times. So go check out it on Lakers Corner, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that. So yeah, I absolutely did my game notes. And my game notes, my biggest thing was like, wow, what a dominant, flawless first quarter. I mean, Anthony Davis scores more than the entire Hornets team. LaMelo goes down. Everything is looking to be our way. And then at the end of the second quarter, AD only had 8 more points than what he had in the first quarter. We took our foot off the gas and we just got complacent. So yeah, Doobie, I absolutely did have game notes on that one. Doobie trying to rip on me, but can't get on me, Doobie. But yeah, I mean, honestly, there's really not much to take away from this game, to be honest with you. It's similar to the Wizards win. It's like, hey, a win is a win. I'll take it. I mean, in previous years, especially against Darvin Ham, like it would be these games that we would lose. And that's when we'd be like, man, the winnable games, we're losing the winnable games. I'm glad we're at least winning them this year, but nothing to be like, wow, we're this doesn't change the trajectory of what, where we were going. And shout out my boy Stone, because he said that during the playback. We were talking about a whole bunch of potential trade targets, and I'm actually going to drop a video on Lakers Corner tomorrow about some potential trade targets here for the center. So go check that out. But essentially, I say the same thing that Stone said. Even if we, unless Giannis comes, like there's just nothing that's going to change the ship and the trajectory. And this is not going to change until, in my opinion, Genie either gets rid of this team or by some miraculous grace, LeBron James just says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done after this year. And you could just keep that money, which is not going to happen. So that's where we're at with it.
Once again, it is the Lakers winning 112-107. The Lakers are now 26 and 18 on the season. I'm going to bring it back to Joe because he did get interrupted by the memberships being doled out. So Joe, I think that now that we're not being called awesome right now, just want to go ahead and bring it back to you. The Lakers, we had to say on this trip, had to get 4-2 and then come back home and get a trade that's going to really take our team as far as depth wise or a third player wise to that next level for us to start really buying into this team. So far, they're 2-0 on this road trip, Joe. You seeing any light at the end of the tunnel as of yet?
I'll ask me that tomorrow. If they
Okay.
win tomorrow, then you could start seeing some good lights. The reason why that is looking at the out of town scoreboard right now. Denver is looking like it's dwindling against Chicago right now, which would, if they lose that game, would put them in a tie in terms of the loss column. Memphis is getting waxed, so they're going to lose a game. Houston is battling Boston right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one right now.
So the Lakers can get a game up on almost everyone above them, other than Oklahoma City, which I'm not counting them because they're gonna get the 1 seed. So yeah, tonight won't be for naught. It could be a full game pickup from all 3 teams that are above them, but they can't ruin it by losing to the Sixers with all pretty much their entire team not playing. Other than Maxey, and I feel they'll be able to beat Washington, and that's how I'm looking at this. I don't. We discussed a lot about the future of the Lakers, and I think I'm kind of burnt out on that, and it's been like that for a few months because if that's the case every game, you might as well not watch the games. So I'm gonna watch these games, and I'm gonna try to focus on each game as much as I can and discuss future games as well, just because we're always trying to figure out what the next setup is going to be. So there's a glimmer of hope that they'll get into that playoff standing that's not going to include a play-in. Right now, if they have a successful road trip, which is at least 4-2, they're gonna be on pace to probably get in the top 6. But we're gonna not know until that end of February schedule through probably the end of the second week. That's probably going to be the biggest one, and we're going to know more in about 11 days on if they're going to get reinforcements. They need reinforcements. Not a lot of assets to throw at it, but enough to where they can at least get someone to sit next to AD at the very least. And then cross your fingers that they have some luck like Boston did last year in the East, where every single round they played in had an injured star on it. What else can we do? I don't know what else to do. I'm just tired of talking about what can't and can't be done, or what can and can't be done. That was a Freudian slip. Because I just want to see the end result at this point. I'm eager. It's January 27th. The dog days of the NBA are going on right now. It's going to be going on probably for the next 6 weeks. Once the middle of March starts to hit, that's when things start to get interesting, because now placements in the standings start to become more obvious. Not likely going to be any locks because there's so much parity right now between 3 and 9 and 10. But the Lakers seem to have bucked whatever has been going on the last couple of years. They're not going to have to kill themselves after the All-Star break, it looks like, to get into the play-in. I think if they just play like what they've been doing here the rest of the way, there's a very good chance they're going to get at least a six seed. But that's not going to be enough. This team, if they want to have any chance of winning a championship, or at least competing for one, they're going to have to get a top 4 pick, top 4 placing in the standings, and that's all I'm really looking at right now. And every game matters. It's unfortunate, but every game matters.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soros. Stone Hansen returning to us. We missed you, Stone. Along with John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. The Lakers do win, 112-107. Stone, I bring it back to you. I know your thoughts on the Lakers as a whole, what the organization shall do, but you and I both know when you look at realistically what this team will look to do, as long as it's in the LeBron AD era, they will always try to either go with the status quo or try to go ahead and burn assets until they make LeBron and AD happy, or they make LeBron and AD so pissed off that they'll end up leaving because they make bad trades or bad draft choices, one or the other. Your thoughts, though, Stone? Again, this team, 8 games above 500 now. They are only lost once against a sub-500 team. Tomorrow, hopefully they'll do and continue the same on against Philadelphia. All the numbers as far as are pointing in the right direction for the Lakers. I said that I would start taking them seriously if they went 4-2 on this road trip and they cut that gap between them and the Houston, Denver, Memphis triumvirate. They close that gap. Well, in the first 2 games they have. I'm thinking about taking them more seriously as far as a contender in the Western Conference, but I'm not there yet. Will anything for you do the same?
Anything that has a realistic possibility of happening, no, will not make me believe this team is a contender. I don't want to be too negative. I feel like I've done that enough in the past.
I already know that answer when I ask it to you, but
I'll do it more in the future. Please don't make my positivity think that make you think that I think this team is a contender, because it's not. But I enjoy wins as they come. It's a lot less stressful, even though I know the outcome. It's a lot less stressful knowing this team doesn't have to fight and scratch to make the playoffs. I think this is a I could be mistaken, but I believe this is the best record we've had at this point in time over the last several years. I don't think we've been at this many wins above 500 in the last 3-4 years now. And it feels good. I don't believe in them as contenders, and I don't believe there's a trade out there that realistically can happen that'll make us one. But I do think we are at a point where we're no longer looking at this team as, is it going to come down to the final game to see if we can make the play-in, or are we going to have to be, scratching and clawing our way to see if we actually have a chance at even making the playoffs? I think this is a team that is going to make the playoffs. They're not going to get as far as we all want, which is the finals, but I think they are a team that is going to be in a better position than they have been the past several years, and that's an improvement. And I think is somewhat of a testament to the coach. JJ has had his faults, and I think we saw some of the warts tonight, but I think that is a bit of a testament, even though the roster hasn't completely upgraded. It is a little bit better, but I think the coaching has taken us there too. My question to you all is, if this trend of winning as of recent continues over the next 2 or 3 games, butting up against the trade deadline, is this incentive for the Lakers for the front office to maybe not push as hard to get a trade done, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality comes into play, where they're looking, and I'm not saying what they should do, right? I think we all think they should make some sort of move, but does this affect how they actually operate as a front office heading into the deadline of continuing this win streak and maybe not pushing as hard as they might if we were on a losing streak?
I hope not. I hope not. And if it does, that would just further prove and further show how complacent this organization can get, because even with these little wins like this, man, like they're little meaningless wins. And I'm honestly, to be real with you, I'm honestly happy Anthony Davis said that shit publicly, because now you put the ball in their court and they better do something. So to answer your question, Stone, absolutely not. That's what I would say.
John, let me bring it right back to you, though. You saw Vando, who has come back, second game out there, and DFS. Different look with those two out there, and Rui not out there, and Gabe not out there. I know that Gabe, up until the past 10 days, has been, I guess, a sore spot for Lakers fans. Has played well over the past 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. And then Rui, again, people have been on Rui's case for a while now, even though, again, when you look at the numbers, it's not been bad, but he should be playing in a reserve role for us instead of starting. How has it looked for you so far with those two guys, DFS, Vando in the mix? Again, defensively, I think it's been a better fit. Offensively, I still think we're going to be really challenged with one or both in there, because they just don't have the inclination to score. In DFS case, it's more like he looks like he can score more, but he just chooses not to. In the case of Vando, it's just a mess offensively, but defensively, it does make this team substantially better on that end of the floor, John.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, we gave up our primary ball handler, one of our primary playmakers. Well, I mean, I guess besides LeBron, in my opinion, he was the only other one that we had for Dorian Finney-Smith. Why not let it fly? Why not go all the way full throttle on this on this experiment? It's like, if we're gonna bring him onto this team and bring him on to play a role, like let's put him in full-fledged and let him play through his mistakes. And I agree with you, Gerald. I think both, whether it's Rui or Dorian Finney-Smith, we're going to be lacking a bit on the defensive end. But if we put Dorian in there and allow him to play through his mistakes, allow him to get continuity with those other 4 players, man, I think that the sky's the limit. I mean, there's just so much you can do. There's just so much more you can do on both ends, I would say, with Dorian Finney-Smith over Rui. And I think that it would give the team a better understanding of their roles. Players would know, all right, I'm coming off the bench. All right, no, this is my role to start, do this right here. And I just think it would be better overall, defensively, offensively, just allowing Dorian Finney-Smith in that in the starting lineup. And yeah, I agree with you, Riddell.
I will. Oh, that. Hey, do you agree with Rodell? All right.
Because that's all fun. It's because Riddell said Dorian Finney-Smith's a much defender than Rui. And yeah, I agree. I mean, he is. And that dunk was, man, he bodied Miles Bridges.
I'll say this, though. Darren was asking where Gabe was. He bagged knees, I believe, in the Golden State game, and he has a sore knee and is listed as day-to-day. And then Rui's still out with the calf strain, listed as day-to-day as well. Stone, let me bring it back to you, and then I'll bring it back to Joe before I head on out. Stone, again, this team, where it stands now, when you look at it on the surface, looks like a team that maybe should start thinking about building something for a run here in the Western Conference. I know you said that they should be looking in a generally different direction, but it's that allure, Stone, that because the Lakers at this time in the past 2 seasons were not really at this level. I mean, it took them late charges in both seasons to get them where they're at on both those occasions. This year, it looks like they're a little bit more comfortable in the standings as of now, although that's subject to change. So the temptation there, I'm sure, by the front office is to build upon it and use whatever assets they can, especially if their star athletes are calling them out on it. So what can you do if you're the front office?
Well, you really only have 2 options, and it's acquiesce to the player, your star player's wishes, which has always been the core of who the Lakers are, and what I believe they will do, or it's do what they think is best, which might be what the players think is best, but also might not be. Might be what I think is best personally, which is hold on to your picks and move forward with those picks held. And if the players don't like that and they want out, so be it. But you're holding on to those picks and you're starting over when they leave. That, in my opinion, is the least likely outcome. I think the Lakers end up trading those first round picks that they have and the seconds. This is a team, this is an organization that is known for doing whatever they can to make their stars happy. And I believe, AD coming out publicly, that's not just some gimme. That's AD and LeBron. I'm sure they talked together beforehand about whether AD should do this. And that's him coming out publicly, putting pressure, like John said, and putting the ball in their court, no pun intended, on making them the decision makers, ultimately on how this team operates moving forward. If you're a star player in your 30s, of course you're going to want every opportunity you can to go as far as you can. I don't blame them one bit. That should be what you want if you're an NBA star in your 30s. If I'm an organization, I think differently, and I've expressed that in the past. And if you're watching, I'm sure you've heard me say it, and if you haven't, you can go back and listen. I'm not going to repeat it, but I think this is a team that is going to spend what they can at the deadline. They're going in with the mindset of being buyers, and they're gonna use those first round picks, I believe, to get the best player that they can. I don't think this is. I think they got their depth with DFS here early on, and I think that they believe that they have sufficient depth with who they have rostered, and I think they're going to try and make the move for the best available talent that is going to be on the market. Who that is, I don't know. And generally speaking, there is some random player that you don't expect that pops up in trade rumors 2-3 days before the deadline and end up getting moved. Maybe it's that player, who knows. I don't think the Lakers have the capital to afford some sort of max guy, but I think they're going to try and get some sort of pretty impactful name here headed up to the deadline. I don't believe that is going to be enough to make them a contender, but I think the Lakers are going to do what makes their 2 stars happy. And I think with that being the case, it's going to require moving those first round picks for the best available talent that they can get with those. We'll see. I am interested to hear your guys' thoughts on what they do and what you think they do. And Joe, you're muted anyways, but
he's seeing what I'm seeing, that it's a return for one of our awesome Australians, Jeremy. We thought you were gone, my friend. So he says he was in a coma and has now been given a second chance at life. You guys have helped more than you know, and I'm glad to be back. Well, we're glad to have you back.
Well, I was on mute, Stone, because I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying.
No worries. This is more important.
Yes, Jeremy, we're just so glad to have you back, man. We were so disheartened. We couldn't reach out. We didn't know what was going on with you for days, and we still miss you to this day. So we're so glad you're back alive, and welcome to listen to us. So yes, it's just so great to have you back, my friend.
My brother.
Joe? Yes. Joe's typing out. Yeah.
Sorry,
did you want to add on to that? No, Jeremy's back.
Yeah, Jeremy, please. Jeremy,
now.
email us your contact info for next time, just in case.
Yes, please.
We were worried. Look, it's been a weird couple of months in my life. There's been some stuff that's happened. So everything's a panic now.
BTS is asking, well, thank you, BTS, for the super chat, but he's asking what caused the coma. I was going to say it's Joe. One of his rants. Okay.
Those rants heal people.
Not me. Hear me on the freeway.
You know what? You can go. Okay. It's 7 o'clock.
You know what? Actually, I am going to go.
Yeah,
With that, I am actually. Yeah. Well, I got to go. Anyways, got to get the business. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Jeremy, we're just so great to have you back. I truly appreciate you joining us. And again, I turn over now to Joe. John, catch him on Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Don't forget Stone Hansen on @report_court. I will try to be back before the end, but the ship is now being steered by Captain Joe Soro. God help us all.
Okay, folks, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So let's continue what Stone was saying. Stone, before we had to put a halt there and talk to Jeremy, what was your finished line on that?
I'm not even sure who Jeremy is, to be quite honest.
Jeremy is one of our regulars.
I was about to say that that's great news. So whatever I was saying is, pales in comparison. But I think I lost my train of thought. But what do you guys think the Lakers do with the assets that they have and how they spend them? Do you believe they go all in like I do and put all their chips forward with their picks? That's not what they've been saying. They've been saying they want to keep these picks. That's what I think they should do. But this organization's history says otherwise. They like to spend to make their stars happy, and I think that's ultimately where we'll find ourselves after the deadline.
You want to answer that first there, Johnny?
I'll give a quick answer to that. I'm in agreement with you, Stone. I think that they're going to always appease to their top stars because this problem starts at the top. And it starts with Jeannie, and Jeannie, she doesn't really want to have a winning organization. She just wants to have a organization that stays relevant enough and sells enough tickets to be a very lucrative business for her. It's going to be lucrative no matter what. It's the freaking Lakers, but for her, she wants She wants a cherry on top of all that money that she's making. So, to answer your question, I think they're gonna do whatever it takes to appease their stars. And right now, you've been publicly put on the hot seat. Like, what are you gonna do? And if you don't do it, I guarantee every other player in the league is gonna make note of it, and come free agency, it'll be on their mind. But what's up, Joe?
No, I don't think they'll go all in because they can't. There's nothing out there to go all in on. So what I believe is going to happen is they're going to wait to the last few hours, if not closer, to see what they can give. So they can see what little they can give to get what they need. That's what I believe is going to happen. There's no one out there. Jimmy Butler is not an option. There's no one like a Giannis. There's no one like a Booker that's going to be available where you can do it. It's just there's not enough money for any of those guys.
Picks.
Or picks. So the Lakers have to wait it out because that's what teams like Washington, teams like, I don't even know if Utah or Toronto are even in this because Masai is a disaster and Danny Ainge is a disaster to work with. I just don't see those things happening either unless they completely sell out for whatever reason, right? But there's no way there's anything out there that's going to be available that's worthy of dropping anything. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What I want, no matter what, is I want a better number 5 on this team. And it doesn't have to be a guy that we know is going to be this game-shifting player. I just want someone decent that's better than what we have. They've tried with Jackson Hayes. He's just not the guy. They tried with Koloko, which, you can't be realistic about grabbing somebody from the scrap heap and thinking they're going to be that guy. It's just not realistic. But give me a bona fide starting center that actually is a starter, and I believe that will help AD in some way, just by existing, just by having an extra guy that could probably box out so that AD doesn't have to sweat every time he switches from his guy to a penetrating guard or forward. And if you can do that, then you bettered the team for the stretch. And then you have to wish that you get a playoff spot, and you have to get that first round at home. You have to get that if you have even an inkling of a chance. And then count your blessings to see if you can avoid certain things until it's too late, until it's, inevitable. There's no other way, guys. There's no other way. This team tonight, this is not a singular issue. This is a constant issue of focus. They're just not focused enough. We're going to have to see if they're going to get focused in the playoffs, which they may get focused. The issue, though, is are they going to run out of gas like they run out of gas every year against Denver should they meet Denver? Denver, the only example I can use is they're the Floyd Mayweather to our anybody in boxing. Floyd Mayweather, I'm talking about Junior, obviously, Money Mayweather. Money Mayweather would allow his opponent, especially in the latter part of his career, to, I don't know if it's a false sense of security, but you would see the first 3 rounds go maybe 2 out of the 3 to his opponent. And as soon as Mayweather got the speed and the feel of his opponent, he'd start pouncing like after round 4, and he had no shot after that, the remaining eight rounds. You didn't have the stamina. He'd make you miss, and he'd stick you until the fight was over. That's pretty much how he ended his career. That's what Denver does to the Lakers. The only way to combat that for the Lakers is in some way to preserve LeBron and AD at the end of games, which that's what is going to help in terms of getting a center for AD. And I don't know if we're going to ever have a chance to get somebody else that can score in the backcourt. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be enough talent out there to do that for the limited resources we have. And then now you're going to just got to pray that if AD's enough to keep him preserved in the end of those games. So that's it, guys. I don't know where else we can go with this. They would need a miracle. They would need some kind of trade with some team that hooks them up for future stuff. Hey, man, come on, guys. Take what we can take now. I promise you in the future, if something comes up, hey, we'll hook you up. But I don't think Rob has that kind of relationship. I don't think he's good enough. All this stuff about Jeannie and Rob is not about, oh, they're not, going forward things. They're not good enough at their jobs. They're just not good enough. And that's just what it is. And there's nothing, I don't think anything's going to change that. So that's pretty much where I go with that. I was just checking the out-of-town scoreboard, Stone. Looks like Denver lost to Chicago. Houston, I think, won on a last-second shot against Boston. That's kind of like a win-win in a lot of ways. and Memphis got waxed. So the Lakers right now, looking at the standings, are tied with Denver in the loss column, and they are down 2 games in the loss column against Memphis. Things are getting tight. Yep, things are getting tight. Yes, I know, Eduardo, but this isn't a beauty contest, unfortunately.
Can I throw out a couple names and just to see sort of where your head's at on whether the Lakers you think would spend both first round picks on these players?
Sure.
So we're ruling Jimmy Butler out. Brandon Ingram. You think the Lakers, if they had the opportunity, would spend both first? And Rui obviously is involved in these because of his salary.
Okay, let me ask you this, because it's you. Do you give up 2 firsts for Brandon Ingram, and does Brandon Ingram now scare the hell out of teams if he's there as a third guy? Because that's exactly what
you're
they
asking
need.
me to answer as Stone or as the Lakers.
No. I can't. Stone, I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck you're doing right now, but I can't do this. You got to be Stone Hansen. I can't handle this nice shit. Sorry, folks. If you guys want some positive shit, that's great. I need you to tell me the truth.
If it's me, no. If it's me, I'm not spending these first. Is my whole thing. Unless you're talking about Luka or Shea or someone, which obviously they're not available. I'm not spending these first round picks.
So let's go with this. Let's say that trade happens. Who's going out? They're going to want Austin, right?
Rui, Vando, and Gabe, I think, gets the salary pretty close to what you need.
Why would they take Vando?
They're doing it for the first because he's not re-signing with New Orleans.
Okay. So you get rid of Vando, which is good for the Lakers. That's a big contract you can get rid of. You get rid of Rui, which is a favorable contract for New Orleans. And then who was the third guy?
Gabe, probably.
Gabe. Okay, who's your guard then? This is going to be LeBron and AR?
Yeah, it's going to be LeBron.
And then you have to put Shake into that Gabe role.
Is there any way we cannot give up Gabe in that deal?
For Brandon Ingram,
financially, I think you have to.
Shit. That we would need a third team, I think, involved in some way to get a guard that could.
Would the Lakers, do you think, do that though? If they have the ability to bring a star in, what people deem as a star with Ingram, and with those 2 first, because he's in a unique situation, right? Of being expiring. He's not your typical.
Yes, but it's contingent on this. Let's say the Lakers are able to get Valanciunas out of Washington for a couple of seconds, but the thing is, we got to send another $10 million over there. Who the hell are we going to send over there? That's what I was hoping for Gabe.
Yeah.
So it would, if the Lakers were able to get a legitimate starting center, regardless of if he's skilled or not, at least he's a starting center who could take up space and not be a complete just basket case like Jackson Hayes. You get that guy, and then you get Brandon Ingram, you might have a shot there. Yes, I think they do that deal.
Your other option to substitute Gabe would be Christie plus like one of Reddish or Hayes or Shake or Wood.
You said you weren't watching the games recently? You weren't able to?
Yeah, over the past month or so.
John, would you say that Christie's been playing good one-on-one basketball in the last few weeks?
One-on-one, no, but I would say he's been playing his role better than we've ever seen from him.
Okay. You didn't think him guarding John Morant in the last game against Memphis was pretty good?
It was, and that's his role. But in my opinion, he's not exceeding that. He's playing his role.
So Brandon Ingram can be the scorer. He can basically be the two-way guy that you're were hoping to get.
Yes.
Or would hope to get.
He's your top 3 scorer that the Lakers have been needing. But there's you're sacrificing in other areas.
in depth. And I think that if we've seen anything these last couple of years deep in the playoffs, like having a deep team really, really matters.
And your future, you're sacrificing with those picks. But he's in a unique situation where you don't typically get a player like that for only 2 firsts, but he's in a situation where he's expiring.
What is New Orleans' mindset right now? Where are they mentally?
Tanking.
That's the key. I have no idea for this season. Tanking long term, it's anyone's guess. If they trade Ingram, the question is, do they trade Zion or do they keep him? And that determines their future.
Wow, Doobie, that's a crazy take.
Would they trade Zion to LA?
Zion's in a different situation where, because he's not expiring, I would presume that they would want more than 2 firsts for him. Whether we agree that he deserves that because of his injury history, I think at least me, and I would assume one of you at least would probably say no. But the way the Pelicans view him in his market, I would assume that they would ask for more than 2 firsts when moving him.
Who would give New Orleans 3 firsts for Zion right now? Who would want him?
Let me look across the league.
Hold on.
I have to think of who actually has 3 firsts. That's the
Who would
first step.
Who would want to take that chance with him? See, maybe me being a Laker homer, I'm thinking, okay, if I'm sitting with Zion, and unfortunately it's not me because I feel like I could do it. Rob, I don't know what the hell he would do. He'd probably talk about, I don't know, the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost shit. I don't know, but it's that's sacrilege. I'm sorry, God. I had discussed this a few shows back. I said, if this was a possibility to get Zion, the first thing I would do is I would ask for permission to talk to Zion one-on-one. And I would actually fly him into LA and say, hey, listen. Or if they're playing New Orleans, are they playing New Orleans before the deadline? I don't think they are they?
I'm not sure.
I usually have my stuff here, but I have so much stuff going on here. Let me. I'm sorry, folks. Let me get the.
I'll pull it up.
Let me
right
chime
now,
in real quick as you pull it up.
Yeah, keep going. I'll pull it up.
I don't believe you can have a championship front court with LeBron, Zion, and AD, those 3 together. The skill set wise, I don't think it works together personally.
No, we don't, Joe.
I'm not thinking about. You're right. I know. Shit. It's got. I don't know. I'm so in the dark here on what. Okay, let's just say New Orleans, like, look, we can't get more than 2 firsts from anybody. And the Lakers are willing to do that.
Yeah.
You sit down with Zion before you say anything and say, listen, we know you don't want to be in New Orleans. We know. But this is not just a 2025 decision. We want you to be the guy. Do you want to play basketball? Do you want to be great? Because there's guys that have flipped after 4 or 5 years of not being well. We'll go talk to Chauncey Billups. Granted, he didn't do it the way Zion's doing it, but there's a very big chance here that if you care a little bit for this, we'll make you a star. But you can't be eaten the way you've been eaten, and you got to be dedicated to this. Now, there's stipulations in his contract, right? His contract's a little unique, isn't it?
Yeah, he has some incentive type stuff.
Right? So, but
I'll be
Rob,
right back in a minute.
yeah, is Rob good enough? Is Rob good enough to see that, to observe that? Can Zion convince Rob of that he will be dedicated from here on out? And how do you believe that? Does it matter? I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Joe. I think what you said about Zion is so on point. I think he just needs a new scenery. I think he just needs a new scenery, and especially with New Orleans. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't traveled much in life, but I hear that the food over there is amazing, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, it's totally okay. You know, some people are just more like bigger boned. Some people just like to eat more. And I think him being in that market where nobody's holding him accountable, where he has all this great food around him, he easily falls into laziness over and over. And it's hard to lose weight when you're already a big bone dude and you keep getting foot injuries. Because how do you lose weight? I mean, unless you just want to go to the sauna all day, you're gonna lose a whole bunch of water weight. That's cool and all, but the real losing weight is getting out there running, whether it be outside on the treadmill, doing whatever, and you got to be active. And it's hard to be active. You constant constant foot injuries, especially if you're a big bone like that. Let me see. Jeremy said, anyway, guys, just wanted to drop in and say hi to Lakers Fast Break. Really awesome to see you guys, hear you all.
Yeah, Jeremy, email us, please. Email us
Please
so we
do.
can stay in contact. We'll talk more. Have a great night. I'm glad you're doing well. Man, that just made my night. Thank you for hitting us up. Man, I didn't think we were gonna be talking this after this game. I gotta be honest. Now I'm really starting to get into that trade mode.
Trade deadline.
We're gonna definitely be getting. It's gonna be a hotter discussion here in about a week. But man, I guess we're gonna have to wait. Wait. But again, for those of you who came in late, Lakers take down Charlotte 112-107. It started out really, really well, but ended like most Laker games, just kind of lazy. But they win nonetheless. They're going to be facing Philadelphia tomorrow in Philly without Joel Embiid and Paul George. My hope is that the Lakers can somehow muster enough energy to get that win as well. You don't want to lose these games at this point. You want to make sure you take advantage of it, especially with Denver and Memphis losing tonight. Let's see if we can answer some questions here, Doobie, because you see we have something there, Joe. See, you're right, Doobie. I'm starting to get intrigued. I just don't know if I want to get myself hyped up too much. I think Brandon Ingram would definitely help. I just don't know how that's going to work. I just don't know what would go out and how depth would kind of be at that point.
Yeah, I'd definitely be shot at that. Let me see. Somebody said design is no good in LA. Too many porn stars out here. Wild. And
design is no good. Graph, too many porn stars out here. Oh, boy. Hey, Graph, if you think that Zion Williamson is the only one tickling the 304, you are sadly mistaken. I think the biggest cruise hound in LA, I remember for years, was Blake Griffin. Didn't he get a porn star pregnant?
Did he? That's
I think
crazy.
he did. Did he?
Did he?
Hold on, I gotta get that laugh track on that one. So Eduardo, what's getting you excited, Joe? Is it Vando and DFS? No, I'm not a big fan of Vando. Honestly, I know a lot of my constituents are. Vando's too inept on offense, and I worry about him being a liability when it matters, because a good team and a good series is going to neutralize him because he can't shoot. Plus, he gets scared to shoot the more pressure is on there. His defense is good, but this isn't 2008, guys. This is not Tony Allen. Just don't worry about scoring. Go put him on somebody. These days, if you can't do something on offense and you're just a defensive guy, that stuff doesn't usually compute. It's actually a detriment in a lot of ways, because now you're playing 4-on-5. Blue Magic. Joe LBJ has his side chicks too, but we're not allowed to talk.
Hey, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is true, he did a very good job.
Folks,
having a rap son on it.
Let me just throw this out here, and I'm going to say allegedly, of course, because I don't know 100%. When you're as big as the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, the Shaquille O'Neals, any of these guys. These guys you have no idea how much attention is constant with these guys. And I'm going to put it in perspective for you. So my cousin, he's my cousin's son, which is kind of like my nephew, right? He's my nephew. I introduce everybody to him as my nephew, but he's my cousin. He's my second cousin. He is a amateur bodybuilder, and he just won a show not too long ago and got a lot of pub from that. And he was, and in that industry, unfortunately, it's probably why I never got into it either, because I have friends from the past too that did shows. You get a lot of, it's like 90-10 dudes watching you versus girls. It's not really a girl thing. Girls really, unless they're in the industry, are not really into dudes being all veiny and like built. That's not really a thing. That's a dude thing. So he got a lot of direct messaging type stuff on his stuff. So imagine that now shifted over to someone like a LeBron James who's global. What do you think that guy's getting all the time?
It's wild.
And if you think it's Bertha down the street who's retired, yeah, that's not what's coming at him. Yeah. And
wow.
I heard a story, and I'm just going to leave it at this. I allegedly heard that, Denzel has his preferences as well. And of course, any movie star of that stature has their situations as well. But anyways, I digress. Stone, welcome back. Did you take a couple shots of tequila to relax a little bit more?
No, I had to take a phone call. My bad.
Oh. By the way, how's your work doing?
It's good. I enjoy it actually. I'm just working a lot because I'm trying to save some money, but so far it's been good.
So, are you going to be back tomorrow?
What is tomorrow? Tuesday? No, Thursday. I think I'll be back for that game because it starts a lot earlier.
Wow.
Is it tomorrow? Which one is it tomorrow? Does it
Tomorrow starts early. Tomorrow starts 4:30.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow I think I can do it. What time does Thursday start? Maybe missing it.
Probably 7, like always.
Hey, Joe Rogan's pops. Are you whistling whistling to the wheat field? Is that what you were doing over there, being the Bushman of the Kalahari? That's a Sopranos reference, guys, in case you guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I've never met a Bertha that was a looker. I'm going to be honest. If you guys know someone, it'd be the first that I've ever known.
I don't even know a Bertha. I've actually never even met somebody named Bertha.
Me either.
I
know it's a popular name for old people, though.
Wait, but hold on.
Yeah,
I'll
be here for the Wizards. Sorry, I'll be here for the Wizards.
Yeah, we're still stuck on this.
The Ingram
What
thing?
the hell are we gonna do between Brandon Ingram and Zion?
So realistically, Ingram at this point in time is the more attainable asset, I believe. I think Zion's a massive question mark on whether the Pelicans want to keep him or not. Ingram's in a precarious predicament because he's expiring. They don't want to give him that max. He feels disrespected by it. Lakers are trading for Ingram with the knowledge that they're going to have to pay him the max to retain him. That's a part of this whole deal. So thank you, Xbox. But are they willing to pay him the max and give up those firsts to do that? I'll throw out a couple other names here because Ingram, it's kind of a sketchy one. A couple names. I don't know how attainable they are. I'm trying to get into your guys' heads on how far you think the Lakers are willing to go to bring in the talent to make these stars happy. Do you think they would trade both first? And salary here is, as giving up the worst players possible that we can to match the salary. Let's say I don't think he's available. But I'm just for a thought exercise, do you think Miles Turner they would give up both first for?
I think that they can get Miles Turner probably without giving up both first. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But if they had to, do you think they would?
Yes. I think it would have to be, if they had to, it would have to be one of those big names, because for the exact reason I told you earlier, Genie wants to be in front of the headlines, not the name that's going to put you in front of Larry O'Brien.
Correct. What do you think, Joe?
Guys, this discussion is not about what we want. What we want doesn't exist.
I agree.
This is about what is realistic. And I'm sorry, I'm not giving Ingram a max contract.
You do not believe? Do you believe Ingram would get a max contract from any team in the NBA?
I'm gonna be honest.
I
I'm looking at teams all around the league. I don't see a single team, because if you're giving a player a max contract, you're building around that player, right? I mean, I don't know many other players that have max contract.
I know one.
I'm going to make a deal with Brandon. I'll make a deal with Brandon. I'll have the same discussion I would have with Zion. I'll sit him down and say, listen. Yeah, I'll sit down with Brandon and say, listen, Brandon, you help us win a championship. You help us win a championship, and we'll give you a max at the end of the year. That's the deal. You don't want to roll with it, then we can't do this.
And do you stick by it, Joe?
Hell yeah.
If he hold on. If he has a stinker, like remember how James Harden had a stinker in the playoffs, but Daryl Morey had promised him to give him the max, but then Daryl Morey didn't give it to him because of the stinker he put up, and then James Harden went around, outing Daryl Morey. What would you do in that situation, Joe? Do you stick by your word even if he puts up plays like ass?
I always stick with my word.
I love that.
The amount of the Lakers winning a championship because Brandon Ingram did what he was supposed to do, that's the point.
Okay.
If you don't win a championship, I'm sorry. You either take a lesser deal or you go and you'll be a free agent. You can go test the market. But you're going to get a better deal. You're going to have his bird rights at that point. He's going to want to sign back. That's the deal I make. Because you're giving up you're giving up the future a little bit here, so that you can maintain this thing possibly for another year. Because we all are pretty convinced that LeBron is not going to retire at the end of the year. If LeBron was going to retire, and by the way, that's the other question I would ask, just to play it safe. We kind of already know, because LeBron loves him some him. He's going to want those flowers and those candies next year if he retires. He ain't going to retire like Tim Duncan at the end of this year. So if that's the case, I would still ask LeBron. I'm like, LeBron, are you going to retire at the end of the year? And if he says, no, I'll retire next year. Okay. We have 2 years now to see if we can win at least one more championship. Then go from there. What else are we going to do, guys? It's not our money. We don't own the team. There's nothing else to do. What else can we do? It'll be more interesting if this happens than not. Waiting to get killed, or maybe having a slight chance of finally fulfilling that third spot, and it's not some geezer, and maybe having a shot.
Let me throw a couple of names. We talked about like the bigger names, but again, answer what you think Rob would do here. Kyle Kuzma, if you give 2 firsts and Vando and Wood or something to make that salary work.
God damn, no.
Hell no.
I hope Rob doesn't do that shit.
How desperate are they is my question.
No, he's not that dumb.
We're not that desperate.
No, they would have done that for DeJounte Murray if that was the case.
But that would have fit. DeJounte Murray would have fit.
And he would have. Yeah, exactly. He didn't do it for DeJounte Murray, and he ain't going to do it for Kuzma.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. I agree.
It's just it's a matter of, or do you think they split these first for 2 players, right? Maybe a first for Jonas and a first for someone else. I wouldn't do it. I know you wouldn't do it.
No, I don't think he's doing that either.
Honestly, I don't know necessarily how exactly the cap works out of it. So if you guys that are some cap experts in the chat or here, I mean Stone or Joe here, if you guys know, definitely jump in here. But I would not be opposed to Clint Capella. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know he's definitely on his way down, definitely declining. He's putting up like career lows comparatively to what he's been putting up in the past. But also, like we all watch basketball here, we all understand that basketball, like numbers are not black and white. And the reason why I think he's been putting up career lows is yes, not only is he getting older, he's just turned 30, but also like the Hawks have been trying to fade him out of the lineup and fade in like that Uneka guy, the one that went to Chino Hills.
Yeah.
And like on the defensive end, like I think he would make our defense like even better, give us even better rim protection. He's also extremely reliable. So like for the games that AD like inevitably like misses, he could be there. He could be there for. He also is a solid pick and roll threat, especially not really picking and popping, but more rolling to the hoop. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but just because like I don't want like for what we're gonna have to give up for Jonas Valanciunas or Vooch or like Robert, like the Time Lord. I just think he gets hurt too much. So for not mortgaging insane amount of money and having someone that relatively fits, I honestly would go with Clint. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
It financially would require Rui and probably Wood, or Rui and Hood-Schifino, which who cares? Or it would be Gabe and Vando. It would be one of those two pairings to get him. And I like Capella the most out of the old guys, Jonas, Vooch, and Capella. I would, out of all those guys, still prefer Rob over all of them. And I think Rob is the most likely out of all those guys to get a first from a team.
Yeah,
Ali, we're not going to be able to get Kessler because Danny Ainge is going to want your soul for those stupid players.
Let me clear something up really quick. Kessler's not who Lakers fans think he is. People think he is this shot blocking, rim protecting machine, double machine. He has Hassan Whiteside syndrome. This is a player who chases blocks to the detriment of the team defense as a whole. This is a team who is a good rebounder, or a player, excuse me, who is a good rebounder. He is, decent around the rim as a finisher, but he's not super skilled on the block. He doesn't have great footwork. He's very slow. He is not who people think he is. He's just not like this rim protecting monster. A lot of his rim protection comes at the behest of and to the detriment of the team defense as a whole. So I think people get caught up in the numbers, caught up in the stats of Walker Kessler, and they see the highlights of these big blocks at the rim. And he has, these huge per 36 numbers. But the reality of who he is when you actually watch his film is not who the numbers portray, in my opinion. So I'm pretty opposed to sending out what it would take to get Walker. But it does seem like the Lakers have had long interest in acquiring him, and that makes me worried. Not so much as that we will acquire him, because I don't think we will, because as of Joe just mentioned, but it worries me from the perspective of we are targeting the wrong talents. We are looking at the wrong talents to bring in, and that concerns me because the Lakers can't be targeting the wrong players with this team. They have to be really precise with who they want to go after. A list of names that will really fit and work well with this team and help this team. And to me, Walker is not one of them. And the fact that they're that interested in him is throwing up a bit of a red flag for me in that regard.
Yeah, I love that.
How do you know who they're looking at? Are they?
There's
not really a lot of information out there on who they're looking at.
I do know that they liked him pre-draft a lot. They really wanted him, and I know that. All I know from this deadline is just rumors that have been out there that they've wanted Walker, but it would check out with what I had heard pre-draft with the Lakers and how much they liked him.
I heard a lot on that as well. And what's up, Zach? Appreciate you tuning in here. But honestly, Stone, I really like what you're saying, because I'm gonna be honest. I was pretty intrigued on Kessler at first too, and I watched a couple of Utah Jazz games, and I did think that he brings some great rim protection, and I was like, all right, well, for the right price, I'd go for it. But now seeing the way like what Danny's gonna make us pay for that, for a player that to your point, it isn't even all that it's made out to be. And this is one of those times when, like I was saying earlier, numbers just aren't black and white. Like, you can't not just look at the numbers and say this will translate to every other team. Love the Hassan Whiteside example, because that man went to honestly, that man went through it, because he went to
machine.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. Like, people thought he got like a max deal, bro, just off like 2 years of just blocking shit, like beating shit up. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I do want to just real quick, because I'm about to hop here to go do my game recap. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Stone, I hope I see you tomorrow. If not,
I'll be here Thursday for sure.
Okay, for sure. Well, then I will see you either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll get a show going soon here on my channel. For everyone here in the chat, appreciate you guys tuning in. Joe, appreciate you for being the Gerald tonight. Thank you for hosting and taking over. If you guys want to get at me, Lakers Corner on YouTube, TikTok, it's Lakers_Corner, and same thing on Instagram. But besides that, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you boys.
Sounds good. Good to see you.
All right, guys.
I don't have a ton of time left. I have like 15-20 minutes. I do want to answer Bloodhound's question real quick, who asked who I think would be the best fit alongside AD. I have a list of 4 names that really come to mind that I would really target as a big if I'm the Lakers, and if it requires me, I feel fairly confident the Lakers are going to move at least one first, and if that is the case, these are the names that I would target. But idealistically, I would not be trading any of the first, just to put that out there. But Nick Claxton is a player I'd be willing to give up a first for and go after. I would probably require adding Rui as well. I believe he is the best switchable big available on the market, and he's a really good rim protector. Paired alongside AD is just a massive force defensively. You really sacrifice on spacing. And I think that's the big thing as a whole with this that people are missing, is bringing in a 5 alongside AD. Yes, it helps our rebounding. Yes, it helps some rim protection, depending on the name. But you are giving up spacing. And that is the case with almost every 5 that's being talked about, outside of Vucevic, who's a complete liability defensively. But so Claxton is number 1, my target, who I think has a somewhat viable chance of being available. I would throw Robert Williams in there. I'm a huge fan of him. Yes, he gets hurt a lot. I would try and move as many seconds as I can for him. But ultimately, I think it would require a protected first to get him. He's a fantastic rebounder, really solid shot blocker, and he is more switchable than people think. The injury history is the big thing with him, but he'd definitely be on my list. The other guy doesn't get talked about as a center, but is very much capable of playing as one, would be Jonathan Isaac, another very injury-prone player. But when he's out there, he is, in my opinion, a top 5 defensive player in the league. Like, this is just an absolute menace defensively, very switchable. The best rim protection against Embiid I think I've ever seen is been Jonathan Isaac against him. Really love him. He's exactly, I think, Rui's number in terms of salary, financial wise. So if you can trade Rui straight across, or you have to add a second or 2, I would do that, because he feels just more of a need, even though he's got more injury history with him. The other third guy or those were the 3. The fourth guy that I thought had a chance before the Pistons went on this run was Jalen Duren, but that seems pretty unlikely at this point, because the Pistons have, been a lot hotter than expected. So those would be the names I'd be targeting alongside AD if I were the Lakers.
What is the likelihood? We'll go from top to bottom on this. Claxton. Wouldn't there have been a deal with him initially for with Brooklyn?
Yeah, I think that is a player that they probably. I'm sure within the Finney Smith talks, his name, even if briefly, got mentioned. But I agree that if it were to have happened, there's a stronger chance it would have already happened. I wouldn't say it's completely off the table, but I would agree with you that that it's much less likely now that we have traded for Finney Smith.
Correct. The second one was, again, which one was it?
Robert Williams.
So Robert Williams has been a name that I've been hearing a lot of. Why would Portland trade him to the Lakers?
It would be. This is the scenario, I think, in Portland. He's the most tradable for Portland out of the three centers, right? They have Ayton, who's basically untradeable with his current contract. No one wants him on that deal, but he is of a high-end backup or low-end starter caliber player. They just drafted Donovan Clingan with a top 10 pick, who they presumably view as the center of their future. They don't really have a need for three starting centers. So he's, in my opinion, the most tradable. It would come down to the rest of the league viewing him as too much of a health liability to be willing to give up a protected first for him, and they're only willing to give up 2 or 3 seconds, where the Lakers would, in this hypothetical, would be willing to give up a first that's maybe lottery or top 20 protected, and Portland views that as more intriguing than a couple of seconds.
Why would Orlando trade Jonathan Isaac?
Orlando trades Jonathan Isaac because they, and I don't think they're shopping him. This is, again, my wish list, but they have Mo Wagner, who's out for the season, but long term, I think, is a part of their plan. They just signed him to a 3 or 4 year deal. They have his brother Franz there, who's their star. They're not going to want to upset him. Goga, who has been playing really well this season. He's been just a really solid shot blocker for them. And then they have Wendell Carter Jr., who's been their long term starting center. They have Isaac, who is just sort of the odd man out in terms of the big rotation. Now, Isaac is different because he can play sort of a wing or a forward as well. He's capable of playing kind of 3 through 5. And then when you look at their 3 through 5 or 3s and 4s, you have Franz, you have Paolo, obviously. And they're kind of backed up just in a logjam positionally with the amount of guys they're trying to fit in a rotation. And it would seem to me as though one of those guys, whether it be him, maybe you're talking about Gary Harris, who's more of a guard, obviously, but is a really strong defender. One of those guys sort of becomes more available as they're trying to fit more guys in their rotation. They just drafted Anthony Black, who they're trying to get a lot of minutes for. And anytime someone gets injured, they're giving minutes to Black because they want to get him more in the rotation. So it's a matter more of circumstance where they just don't need Isaac as much as they once did, rather than he's more of icing on the cake than what they actually need him for. And if they were able to get a first for him, or if you got Rui and, they could add 2 or 3 seconds with Rui, and Rui's more of a floor spacer. And obviously Orlando could use more of a shooting skill set rather than the defense, because their defense is already amazing. I think that they sort of might be interested in a swap like that. But having said that, the other option is maybe they flip it and they have enough centers and they're willing to trade Wendell Carter Jr., who I'd also be interested in.
Do you think Carter's better than Isaac in terms of overall, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe so, yeah. Not offensively, but.
We're going to have a trade deadline show pretty early on the 6th. We're going to be discussing these details pretty extensively. This next week and a half is going to dictate. It is going to dictate a lot of what near and later for the Lakers. The question right now is, are the Lakers going to be able to, I'm talking in terms of their ability to do this, are they gonna be able to improve this team and make them viable for this run? That's going to be the question here in the next week and a half. Viability is really the only unless it's a bona fide third guy, someone who can score consistently. Let's say Brandon Ingram is a pretty good one there. That guy will give you 20 points, and if LeBron sits, you're not worried about not being able to score if he's in there. That is something we've been discussing a lot during the year. You will have that. You might not need as much up front for AD if that at least gets solved. Even the ball handling duties as well. You're going to have to pick a spot, right? Either you get what I would hope we would get what I wished we could get, which is some kind of viable starting center and at least a scoring ball handling guard of some sort. Kind of, again, so that LeBron doesn't have to worry about taking up the scoring duties. And maybe we would see less of these streak threes. I don't know what else to call them other than just the streak three that he just takes because there's nothing else to do. If we have a score that we can somehow run plays for, that might change that. But I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I'm wishful thinking on or what, but this will determine so much because there's an interesting thing going on in the NBA right now, which is there really a powerhouse right now in the NBA? Even with the Celtics winning last year, are they really a powerhouse? They're not. Oklahoma City might be a year away. I mean, they could win this year, sure. But I still feel like Oklahoma City, with their inability, with Chet Holmgren not being able to stay healthy, I feel like that's a detriment. And I'm wondering if Presti's going to – I'm not saying he's going to trade Chet Holmgren, but does he get impatient if they don't win this year? Does he finally say, you know what, I got to go get somebody. And if I have to give up something, so be it. Do they go get Booker? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying it would. And then, of course, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland is kind of on the rise, but they still kind of need someone, right? They still need one more guy, but will the cap allow them to? They're not likely going to be a team that's going to want to fiddle around with a second apron. I don't know. I don't know what the Quicken guys are doing over there, right? So it's really the league is just not. There aren't any more Golden States and Clevelands going to the playoff, going to the finals year in and year out. It's just not been that way. And Denver. What do you think the problem with Denver is right now? Like, what's the issue with Denver? Why are they? The game today, I didn't watch it, but I was following the game cast, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? They were leading, and then all of a sudden, it's like Chicago ended up, and I don't think Giddey was even playing tonight. If I read that correctly, like, what's going on with Denver? Are they just kind of taking it easy, or what?
Jokic certainly is in.
No, definitely not. He doesn't need to. His game is slow-mo. He doesn't exert a lot of energy.
And not to get too off track here, but I think he's the MVP. But
no doubt.
Think, well, I hear a lot of Shea arguments. They're valid, but Jokic is on another level. But there's two issues with Denver, I believe. One is that they've lost depth. I think that was a big thing. I think losing KCP was huge, much like the Lakers. When you lose a perimeter defender to the caliber of KCP, I think people say it a lot, but I still don't think people grasp how valuable two-way perimeter player is. Like being able to defend as a guard or as a perimeter player as a wing, and shoot at a high level. Like it's so valuable for any team. And to lose that, you're playing Christian Brown, who's played who's valiantly in his role, but he's just not the level of defender KCP was, and you've lost depth a bit. And I think the other issue with them is I think teams have started to figure out how to let Jokic beat them, and the other guys have to be able to pick up that slack and become a number two. I think people overestimated Murray being that like level of number two, that when Jokic is not getting it going or is crowded enough, he can take over games. I think people underestimated what teams can do when they take away Jokic's outlets as a passer, and how they can make the rest of the teams beat that, or rest of the players beat them. And I think Denver has yet to figure out how to grit around that, how to get other guys going to match the level of, not to match the level of Jokic, because no one's going to do that, but to match the level of scoring that Jokic can provide in other areas as a perimeter shooter or as a finisher. I think they rely so heavily on Jokic for this team that when he doesn't have those access points as a passer, it becomes a lot more difficult for them to really punish a team. But I do want to say that I think the window, like you're saying, is a little more open because there's not like a set dynasty. The Lakers shifted their needs with this DFS trade in a way that, you had three coming into this season. I think you and me and most Lakers fans would agree. We had the issue of needing a big, right? We have yet to address that. We needed a perimeter player who could defend. I think we tried to address that with DFS, and I think from what I'm hearing, I haven't watched him really, but it sounds like he's worked out in that way. And I think even when we had D'Lo, I think we needed a third really legitimate ball handler who could defend on the perimeter. I think we have shifted now where we no longer need that 3-and-D guy with DFS, but we now need double the ball handling that we did before we sent out D'Lo. I think we need two ball handlers because I don't think Gabe is who we thought he would be, even though he's been better. I don't think he's good enough to be that starting ball handler that we need alongside Reeves. And then we also need that big. And the Lakers are going to have to try and address this by either splitting those two firsts and getting one of each with a big and a guard, or going all in by putting these two firsts together to get the best big or best guard that you possibly can. And I think the Lakers are in this position where they have to figure out how they're going to divide these assets moving forward, because as much as I want them to, I don't think they're going to hold these first throughout the deadline.
So your assessment is that you don't think they're going to hold these. You think they're going to go all in.
If history tells us anything, it's that the buses are not patient people.
But see, the difference between before and now is you have an incompetent pulling the trigger. That in terms of the executive, the Rob Pelinka, you had Jerry West and a much maligned Mitch Kupchak, but Mitch Kupchak made three defining trades. One was unfortunately didn't go through, but getting Trevor Ariza and getting Pau Gasol in consecutive seasons changed that run. So that's the question we have to keep asking ourselves, no matter what the decisions are going to be or not be, is are these people capable of making the right call here?
Well, I think we all know the answer, but it's even if they don't make the right call, it's what are the wrong calls they're going to make? Is it going to be sending both first for a player that is not good enough to get us over the hump, but it's the best they can get with those first? Or is it splitting those first for role players, for hopefully a big and a guard to address those needs? And, we're just going to have to wait and find out, I guess.
Gerald, what's your assessment on this? What do you think is going to happen here?
Again, they've already called him out publicly. As far as Rob is concerned, both LeBron and AD have very thinly veiled called out the organization for not doing enough in their opinion. Again, Joe, you and I have thought that window that LeBron and AD, has closed, but they're trying to keep that open any which way they can, and they're going to call out Rob to doing it. They don't care, Rob, about the 29 and 31 picks. They don't care about it. They won't be there. They'll be gone. So why should they care? That's the point I've been trying to make the past few days, is that, it doesn't matter whether it's a good move or bad move if they go all in, Joe. They don't care about the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not important to them because they won't be there. They want every opportunity to win now. And even if the ultimate result, Joe, is not going to lead us to the promised land, or doesn't look like it's going to lead us to the promised land, they don't care. They'll still call out the organization, even if the organization makes the trade that's halfway decent or good. And it doesn't get the job done. It'll still be that way until LeBron and AD are no longer members of the Lakers. It's just going to be that simple. Where LeBron is more upfront with his passive aggressiveness on social media and whatnot, and then AD every now and then telling you either in a press conference at the end of the season or as he did with Shams Charania the other day, telling you his displeasure with certain aspects of the team, which is fine. They're star players. They have that right. Absolutely they should be given that right. But Rob is, the general manager at that level. We just don't think he's going to be able to get the job done. Or if he sees like Stone sees a certain path for the team, but you have to keep those draft picks in order to do it. I just don't think Rob is going to have that fortitude to stand up to LeBron AD and say, you know what, I want to do what's best for our future, so I'm going to say no for now, because I just don't think we have enough, or I can get you enough to help you win a championship right now. I just don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to just go ahead and acquiesce to them and their demands and do everything he can to go ahead and go all out. And the thing is, though, with what the Lakers have, they just don't have enough to get the Lakers at that level.
Even if Rob pushed back against them, I'm not entirely sure it's up to Rob.
Let me just say this. Mr. Hudson in the chat, thank you for being here, Mr. Hudson, says screw those picks. Again, that's what LeBron and AD are saying. But the problem is when 29 and 31 comes up, the Lakers are in the state they are, and we have no picks to replenish or no picks to go ahead and help us out. We'll be saying it then.
If you still believe in LeBron and in AD as in this team as championship contenders, absolutely screw these picks. You for any fan that it still believes that this current roster is, a player or two away from contention, absolutely.
Like AD assesses in that interview. He
Correct.
said exactly what you're saying now.
Get rid of and if you are LeBron or AD, absolutely, I don't blame them one bit. Get rid of those picks. Bring the best talent you can in. It's not their job to think about the Lakers franchise future past their playing days. That's not their responsibility. Exactly. That's not what they're paid to do. They're paid to play and win as best they can. That is their job. They should want to get rid of these picks. I don't blame them at all. If you're at the Lakers organization, it is your job to run the organization the best way you see fit. The best way I see fit is to keep these picks because I don't believe this is a contending team. But it's not up to me. It's up to the Lakers. And the Lakers have shown us time and time again, they go the way of the star player. Whatever the star player wants is what the Lakers want. And I believe history will repeat itself this deadline. I don't believe we're going to get a player or players that get us to contention level that maybe even satisfy LeBron or AD, but they're going to do their best to make those, wishes and demands come true.
Does LeBron have enough to finish this year? Is a question that we need to ask. Does he have enough to go through 4 series and be that? I'm not expecting LeBron even 2020, but enough to where he's a threat. That's the big question. I think that's probably the biggest question to ask in this. If you're Rob Pelinka and you're Jeannie Buss, you have to sit back while you're in the office contemplating if you're going to get reinforcements. Is LeBron going to make it? Can he play good enough defense when it matters? Playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball for a couple main reasons. Number one, you're preparing for one team, which makes things a little easier. The other thing is you're never playing a back-to-back. In a lot of cases, especially in the first round, sometimes you don't play for 3-4 days. And we all know that when LeBron gets a break, he usually performs. These are the questions. I think that's probably the main question. AD still has enough juice, obviously. The only problem with AD is, will he be able to be clutch enough? He hasn't been clutch the last 3 seasons. He's been terrible at the end of games. And overall, the Lakers have been terrible at the end of games. Even tonight, I don't know what it is about these guys when the 3-minute mark hits. They just decide that they don't want to play anymore. That has to stop.
That's several times a season, Joe.
You're gonna, as vicious as I've been to Jeannie and Rob, and my viciousness is more towards who they are versus their ability to do this job, even though that is still not good either. But what kind of questions are you going to ask yourself, Jeannie and Rob? Really, Jeannie, because she's the owner. What if it doesn't work? We look like a-holes. If it works, we're geniuses. You're going to have to make that decision. You're going to have to understand that there is no middle ground here. You're either going to botch this or you have to win it. There is no loss. Not even a 7-game series in the finals will make up for this. So if you're going to do whatever it is that you're going to do to compete for the title, you have to understand that you're going to risk a lot for a small shot at winning it. And the only way you're going to look good is if you win it all. If you don't, it's sayonara, and you're going to be in a very bad position here in about 4 or 5 years, unless those things are protected really well, which I don't know. I don't know what those protections would be. I don't know. And I don't know if they'll drop into other things, which they normally do. So it's a difficult look. I'm going to use the football. I know you. Did you watch the games this weekend at least, Stone, at all? The
football
games? Yeah.
No.
Okay. So normally you get a lot of whose fault was it in the game, right? And the quarterbacks usually get the blame. But this was one of the few times that the quarterbacks in both of the losses were not a detriment to their team. They were not. It was unfortunate that teammates of theirs let them down. Either they fumbled it 3 times in the game that cost them 21 points, or the last second throw was completely dropped when it would have been a first down, and it would have continued. So in these, I want to put ourselves in that situation because I want to make sure that everybody understands this. There's a difference between botched and somebody jacking you up. And I'm going to say this now, so I don't look like I'm fair weathering this. If Jeannie and Rob, let's just say, get a reliable 5 and a reliable guard scoring type guy that could play a little defense, I probably won't be as hard on them if they don't win it, because at least they tried. Remember last year, Gerald? Remember when Rob signed everyone? And we said, hey, All right, guys, now it's on you. Rob gave you all your money. You should be happy now. Now it's your job. Now it's your job to come through. Didn't work out in the end.
No.
Now, my issue with Rob and Jeannie wasn't until the offseason of this last year. That was when I really got pissed because they weren't focused on getting players or focused on getting anything that they had control over. Connect dropped to them. Cool. Great. But then they were too worried about other things in the second round when they should have been focused on maybe getting somebody else that could maybe at least develop with this team instead of having some kind of family reunion. And then there was nothing that happened in the summer. So then that's where all the venom on that came. But it's irritating because you have a guy that really only plays one side of the court who's taking up both sides of the court money-wise. That puts a detriment on your team. That's a detriment to your team. And the next week and a half is going to be, I think it's going to be the decider here for the next 5 years. I really believe that. I don't think another year of LeBron and another year of AD next year is going to be something that is going to be better than now. The more these guys play and don't win, the worse it's going to get. And knock on wood, they have been fortunate again this year without major injuries to both LeBron and AD. So the excuse on that is not there. They played Russian roulette with that for a year and change now, and they haven't reciprocated that to those guys. So maybe that's why they're now, hey, dude, you got to figure it out. That's your job. So that's it. That's how we went. That's how I'm looking at this. I'm kind of in. You're gonna either crash or you're gonna have to win it all. There is no middle ground. You don't have time for any of that, especially if LeBron decides to come back another year, which we all know he will because he'll want the retirement tour. Now, here's the other question I have. Stone, since you're here, is there any chance LeBron keeps playing after next year? Because that makes that is a decision that matters in what's going on in the next week and a half as well.
If he did not have a second child, no. Because he has a second child, maybe.
You actually think that he's going to wait for the second child?
Been saying that for years, Joe.
I think there's a possibility. I think that possibility exists. I don't know to what extent, but it exists. If Bryce didn't exist, which I mean, I'm not saying I wish he didn't, but if he didn't have Bryce on his way up, I think LeBron would be calling it quits after next year. But Bryce is far worse than Bronny. And any critique, I believed Bronny was a top 60 player this year. I don't believe he's an NBA player. Because you're top 60, I've explained this, doesn't mean I think you're an NBA player. Bryce is much further away from Bronny. Bryce is the ultimate Nepo pick. I wasn't fully ready to, I mean, obviously it plays a part, but I wasn't fully ready to say Bronny is only there because of his father. Bryce, I would say, would only be in the NBA because of his father. And I think the possibility of LeBron playing past next year exists because Bryce might, he might want to play with Bryce.
We've commented on that a little bit, and I don't even know what.
Not to get too far. Yeah.
Well, I told you
That actually would. I'm sorry, Mark, but even Mark couldn't bring me back from that one. That would be retirement at that point until Genie sells the team. Luckily, I have a Dodger channel that I can go to at that point and commiserate there as much as I can.
I might try and join you on the Dodger channel a couple times this year.
Good. The Dodger channel is going to be, in my opinion, because I'm going to spring training here in a few weeks. Empire Jeff and I are going to be doing a show out there as well. I'm going to get my feet wet a little bit on getting the setup, and yeah, this next week and a half is going to probably say a lot about what the next 5 years is going to be. I think it's definitely. Yeah.
I think LeBron, taking his kids out of it, if LeBron wanted to play another 3 or 4 years, I think he could as a positive NBA player. Not to this level, but I think LeBron could be, a plus NBA player at age 43 or 44 with the way his body is and the shape that he's in. I'm not saying he'd be great. Not saying he'd be an all-star even, but I think he could be still effective at an NBA level. I don't think LeBron wants to get to that point. I don't think LeBron wants to be just a 15-point per game scoring type guy in the NBA. But I think if he has to be that in order to stay in the league for his other son, I think he the chance of him exists to do that. I think LeBron, if it were up to only him and there were no other obligations, this is probably the last chance LeBron has to make $50 million a year this coming year, the season after this one. And after that, I don't think LeBron sees value in continuing to play apart from familial obligations. But I think that if it were up to him, next year would be the last year because he's on a team that's perpetually losing. It's not like he's there to win a championship. I think for as long as LeBron's been in the league, he knows a championship roster when he sees one. I think he knows the Lakers don't have it in them. The money is not going to be $50 million a year past next year. There's just less and less incentive for him to be there apart from that. So I think that's the only reason I give that chance of him staying past that as a possibility.
If let's say they won it this year, would he retire on top?
I would.
That would be a LeBron.
No, only LeBron can answer that, I think. Yeah. I don't know.
I still think he does another one-on-one to get Bryce in there, and unless something happens, an injury or whatnot, that's
positive,
obviously on the table.
The positive would be, I could be wrong. Maybe the Lakers are that stupid. I just couldn't see them giving him $50 million a year past next year.
They'll do it. They give it on the table. It's already an option for $51 million, Stone. So
no, I'm saying past this current contract.
That?
Yeah. Are they that bad? Like, do we think that they could actually?
How much did they give Kobe in his final year? Again, they have been prone to do this in the past, which also might align them to what they may do in the future, whether we like it or not. I'm just saying it's there. Bryce James committed to Arizona
from championship aspirations to fucking Bryce James.
We're just telling you as far as how.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about
Bryce
Urkel
for the next.
I hated Family Matters after Urkel ended up being 7 feet tall next to everybody. I don't want to watch this shit. I don't want to talk about it.
I hope not. I certainly hope not. I hope not.
He might wait until Bronny has his first kid. Maybe he'll wait till his grandkid comes in the league.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Joe, because
I'm not even gonna retort. I wouldn't even retort. I'd just be gone.
I
I'm
know
just
you
gonna.
would be.
It would like how people, how LeBron had to make a comment. Oh, I'm leaving social media, dude. I'm not even. There's no comment. It's just gonna be gone.
I will say I think it's going to be as much as LeBron has meant to basketball and everything. I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see what direction this team goes past LeBron. I think all of us are going to be excited for what happens next.
Who's guiding that ship? That's the problem. I would have to question.
Right, but excited to see a new era of Lakers basketball. This is we know how this LeBron AD era ends every season, right? And I think we're gonna know there's gonna be a lot of losing coming, but I think we're just to have a new blank slate to start from. At least for me, I would be excited to see that.
I'm sure they said the same thing on the boat to the captain, to the skipper. I was heading to Gilligan's Isle for quite a few years.
LeBron will never own an NBA team as the majority owner. He doesn't have that kind of money. What would the expansion price be, Gerald?
At least half a bill. At least,
yeah.
At least half a bill.
No, LeBron doesn't have that kind of money. He might be worth a bill, but that doesn't mean
he would front some. He would be at the front of some investors that would.
Yeah, A-Rod does that. Magic does that. Folks, if you're not a majority owner, you're not an owner. You're a figurehead. You're an investor. That's it. I'm talking about calling the shots. That's the owner. That's a real owner.
Because the Suns went for $4 billion, if I remember correctly. So a brand new team starting up would have the evaluation of a $2 billion, let's just say $2 billion team right now in Las Vegas or Seattle. And if that's the case, Joe, I mean, yeah, just the entry fee alone, because you do have to pay an entry fee just to get in the league for that evaluation, probably would be $500 million. And then you're talking about startup costs, et cetera, getting a team together, payroll started, getting an organization in, that's another $500 million right there. So it's $1 billion before you even start putting your team on the floor. So yeah, get that money out there.
Well, I still say that Adam Silver needs to not expand. I believe he needs to move 2 teams to Seattle and Vegas.
I agree with you, Joe. I've never said otherwise, but I know the NBA, the NBA, and I think they'll still seek out that option first. Personally, as someone who lives in Las Vegas and sees what has done as far as an expansion team, Joe, I would rather choose the expansion than getting, for instance, the A's here, someone else's deadbeat team over here to our city. They've done it right with the goal. Well, I mean, they're in that toilet bowl now, the Intuit Dome Stone. So I don't think I know it was said in the if you look at the NBA attendance that they're last in the league in attendance in that Intuit Dome, but the price that they're charging per game or per seat, I bet you more than makes up for whatever they're not getting in that arena compared to other teams right now. But I just from scratch, I mean, the success of the Golden Knights tells us in Las Vegas that an expansion team would be the best option for us. And I know that they're talking about building a arena down on the other side of the strip because they don't want to they don't want to share the T-Mobile. God forbid they would want to do that. So yeah, they're just going to build a new arena because we can. So there you go. Building a stadium, building an arena. Heck, it's just taxpayers' money. That's all.
You're gonna go get a hotel room there for $39 a night, and then you're gonna see your receipt say $400 in resort fees.
Yep, that's what you're gonna see.
Vegas, seriously, Vegas has been a shithole for the last.
Well, California, the resort fees are now all over, Joe.
Yeah, that's why. And again, it trickles into other things. See, this is the problem with people. They blame other people for the shit that they do. You keep selling to investors, homeowners, and then you bitch about why things are high. This is why. This is why right here. So stop blaming other people when you're the ones causing this. Now you have to go do verbos or whatever the hell they call them, right? Because you don't want to go pay $400 a night because half of it is in resort fees. I mean, make up your mind, people. What do you want? Stop selling to investors. I had a nice lady, a potential client that I had. What was that?
Unless you're Genie, then sell to investors.
Well, here's the thing, Stone. The guys that own 27% right now, which are the Guggenheim partners, they're not just investors. They are machines in business. What they've done since 2013 with the Dodgers is, I mean, it's as close to Dr. Buss. The only thing with Dr. Buss was he was winning championships the moment he got there. The Dodgers didn't, but then there was circumstances that were unique in that they were cheated in 17 and 18. People don't talk about 18 enough, but they were cheated. They should have had 2 more World Series by this time. They have not. They have won a division title every year except for one. And even that year that they didn't, they ended up beating the division winner in the second in the NLDS. So, I mean, what they did in this offseason and last offseason is just it's gotten so bad with the media. I don't even think it's the owners. I think it's just made up stuff by the media that they're now talking about. Well, something needs to stop here. Mind you, most of these guys that they've gotten in this offseason took less money to come to LA. But there's a narrative, much like the narrative with Kansas City, that these guys are getting special treatment. Again, I heard this for 20 years with the Patriots. It's like losers talk about winners. Winners win. That's how it works. And not enough of that is going on because jealous losers, jealous complainers are always going to get more attention because there's more of those rats out there. Rats are always going to get more attention than a bobcat or a coyote, right? Because they trickle around and underneath things and all that, whereas a coyote or a bobcat in the area, it's one usually or 2 here and there. But rats, they can get in under your sheds and under stuff that and multiply. So that's what this is. It's become, oh, these guys are winning too much. Oh, they're getting everybody. That means somebody's cheating or it's not fair and all that bullshit. But those same people that complain will sell their house to an investor because they pay him more money. And then they'll bitch about why milk costs more and all that. Why do you think this all costs more? Because you're not selling to people who are needing a home, a family. They have no shot. So just kind of the whole Vegas thing, I really, really got, I don't like children being collateral damage to your scam. When we were there a few years back for an event, you had 304s skanks. I don't know. People are trying to tell me not to use the word skank. 304 apparently is the call sign for you know what's. Walking around in the daytime. I know it's Vegas, but you also promote families. And there's a dance competition for children there. You're promoting that. I'm not bringing them to Sin City because I want to go gamble and go see some shows, knowing, hey, man, this might not be a good place for kids. You guys are promoting a family atmosphere where there's a dance competition. I didn't ask you guys to book it there, yet you have a bunch of assless or chapless or whatever the hell is out there walking around in the daytime. If it was at night, I understood. Totally. I get it. In the daytime, you have people walking around with kids around. Like, where's your brain there? All your slots are almost like in the teens. You're just stealing money from people, from idiots. So for me, as I get older, the scams become more apparent, and then the voice gets louder because, and it's not just me, it's everybody. Food, what's been put in our foods and all this. It all trickles down to other things in sports, Lakers in general. The disdain for Jeannie is the information that we've gotten about how she conducts business, how Rob conducts business, and I have been the proudest Laker fan ever, even during the Kobe fiasco with not being able to get things set there when he was there. Like, even then, I wasn't necessarily on Mitch. A lot of people were, though. I remember talking to some people. I'm like, what do you want Mitch to do? What do you really want him to do? He doesn't have anything. The Kwame Brown, what are you going to get for Kwame Brown? Holy crap. Freaking guy pulled a black rabbit out of a hat with that one. And now, I don't know. The behind the scenes stuff has gotten me kind of irked with them. And how do you make up for that? I don't know. Win basketball games, I guess. I can look at the bad stuff that they do behind the scenes. In the end, it's about winning. And it's a rough industry, and it's rough when you're a Laker fan. It's rough when you're the Lakers. You've built up an excellence that you can't veer off. You have to maintain it, and within reason. Again, I wasn't upset during the post Kobe era. We had to do what we had to do. I never was derogatory to really much at that point either. I'm like, well, what do you want them to do? They have to lose now so they can get these picks. Otherwise, what are you going to do? You can't get Carmelo. You couldn't get Aldridge. You couldn't get Durant. Okay, well, if none of these guys are coming, what else is going to be done? Oh, we got to get somebody else, and we got to get somebody else. And I'm like, okay, well, we got to wait for that. And we ended up doing that. And then, of course, LeBron ended up coming, which, again, I think about that at that time. It was 17. I'm like, is this really true? LeBron only wants to come to L.A.? Son of a gun, he did. Question now is, if Magic wasn't on the executive board, would he have come? Or was he coming anyways?
I would feel like he's coming anyways. But we'll never know, I guess.
I don't hate you guys. Jesus Christ. All my friends have tattoos. That's why I crack on everybody.
I'm just kidding, Joe. But I would. They're not saying, "Oh, you guys should do a tattoo reveal on there." And I'm like, no, I'm not hearing Joe for 10 minutes whine, moan, and groan. You know the deal.
Everyone thinks I got mine because obviously I'm a younger generation, and everyone in my generation got them. But for whatever reason, since I was a little kid, I've had a fascination with them. Like I was a weird kid. I got the temporary stick-on ones. I'd put them all over myself. I love tattoos for whatever weird reason, but that's why I have mine.
Too permanent. And I always crack up when I see guys that have either really just stupid tattoos. I mean, absolutely stupid tattoos. I'm like, what the is this?
Oh boy.
And I like how a lot of my cousins justified their tattoos because they had Jesus with the cross on their arm, and I'm watching them smoke weed and vape and smoke cigarettes at the same time. I'm like, really?
Oh yeah, people will turn it into whatever they want to justify it. I'm like, half of mine are because they look cool to me.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Why? And usually the why, and you can always tell because you hit a nerve, you hit a target.
Defensive.
The defensive people, man, they come out quick because not a lot of people talk truthfully to people. Luckily for me, I don't give a shit, and and of course if it's family and friends, yeah, they're. I still rub my buddy. I still, get on my buddy for his tattoo. I'm like, what is this? Is it a dragon? Is it a phoenix? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I still don't know what it is. So yeah, it's what's great is I am the judger. I'm judgment, and I that's my favorite response when somebody says, you're really judging. Even my sister does this. I said, is it judgment, or is it that I just know what's going on and how you thought at that moment when you did something stupid like that?
Yeah.
I go, come on, guys. I've seen some really cool tattoos. I mean, I'm like, damn, that guy has 20-inch shredded arms, and he's got a really cool, like, Goldberg's tattoo is awesome. That is one of the best tattoos I ever saw because he looked like a freaking superhero, and he had that sick-ass original, whatever that was. I go, yeah, that right there, I could see myself doing that if I wanted a tattoo. But, I like Razor Ramon. Razor didn't have any tattoos. He had the hamburger meat a little bit here, kind of like how I do. And he was as cool as shit. I'm like, that's what I identified with. Especially when he became Scott Hall. Because obviously I'm not going around talking with a fake, really bad Cuban accent. At the time, I didn't know any better, and most people didn't. Of course, you run into a couple Cubans. They're like, dude, Razor Ramon was butchering our entire country with that that Scarface voice. But anyways, boy, did we I wanted to take advantage of Stone being here, so we went through a few things here. I like it when Stone is here because he's informative.
Yes.
I like it when
He's
Stone is here.
concise. He's entertaining. There's a lot of stuff I wish I could have resource-wise where I could take you out of your job and pay you to be here, but we're not there yet. Hopefully one day.
One day.
But I wanted to again thank everyone for being here tonight. I went into from co-pilot to pilot tonight because Gerald had to leave for a minute. But the Lakers did win tonight, 112. I know we kind of veered off the game a little bit, but it wasn't a boring game, but it was, typical, right? They ended up winning, so that's good. They are going to be in Philly tomorrow. Crossing our fingers that they're not too dead flying into Philly. Get that win, guys, because then you have Washington on a day's rest, I think. I can't remember if it was a couple days or a day.
It's a day because I think it's a
So
Thursday game.
Get back, guys. Get back to. I mean, I'm just knocking. New York's probably going to be a loss, which I won't be upset about. But get back from there if you can, 3-1, to face hopefully LA in the toilet bowl. Get the revenge for this last loss that you had there, please. And Gerald, do you want to take us away here?
Great job, Joe. I was listening the whole entire way through on the freeway, and to you just well stoned. We're just blessed that whenever you stop on by, my friend. I know you're living on the East Coast makes it a lot harder, but yeah, thank you.
That hat and the way you curved it is perfect.
I think it came like this. That's why I bought it.
You bought a
Yeah.
perfect hat.
It's a trucker hat. It's a truck. They call it a trucker hat, correct? Yeah, that's that style.
Trucker hat would be the mesh.
Yeah, I think that's the.
But as far
that's
as the
what most
bill,
of my hats are.
it's flawless. Like that's exactly how you're supposed to have it.
Was that
Where
the duck bill then?
There's a symmetry to it, and when I see the flat ones, and I don't care who's wearing it, it looks like shit.
I used to
I
wear
don't like
those.
flat ones.
I don't like them anymore.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
mean,
shit.
I get-
don't know who has it.
I get them for Christmas every now and then, Joe, and it's just I don't wear them. I don't like. They just don't fit right. They don't look right.
It does depend on the hat, but typically Dodger hats, doesn't matter what color it is, they actually make those hats really well. There's not one Dodger hat that I've had that didn't bend well. The Steeler hats, oh my God, I had to go through freaking 15 of them to get one time I got one. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's like a short bill, and then I'm like, who made this hat? Probably the same people that made the Lake Show jerseys for the City Nights days.
Exactly. Again, Hernan, we'll see what happens. AD has been playing great, but I want to see him play great against the great ones.
Flat earther. That's crazy.
The Jokic's against the OKC big guys when they're both back and ready. Let's see how he does against that front line. That's what I want to see. Then you guys can get a real good evaluation on just how good this team is. But again, I think we're pretty convinced that because AD and LeBron have been publicly calling Rob out, Rob will acquiesce and cave in and do something. I don't know if it'll be good enough to get the Lakers where you guys and we want them to be, but we'll see. It's always, we're going to be here for the ride. Whether it's up or it's down, we'll be here. But Stone, we haven't had lunch in a while, so we got to have lunch with Stone coming up at some point in time when you're available. And then also Joe, again, truly glad to have you here. Catch Stone, Upside Swings podcast coming in the not too distant future.
Upside Swings is alive.
I know it's alive, but I'm just saying
it's coming down the pipeline at some point. I don't know exactly when. We're all busy with our lives, but definitely subscribe to Upside Swings because we will have draft content for the 2025 draft at some point. If you like any of my thoughts you heard tonight or any other basketball thoughts, mostly about the draft, you could follow me at report_court on Twitter or at Full Court Report on Blue Sky. So I'm on either of those places. I'll be posting more and more, hopefully, as time goes on and we get closer to the draft. I'm just working a lot lately.
I'm just going to say this. Chris said, does any GM want to work with Rob? Absolutely. I think Joe's a little overstated when he says this GM doesn't want to deal with Rob. This GM does want to deal with Rob because the Lakers and Phoenix have the most valuable first round picks that are out there with 29 and 31 for the Lakers. And I think it's the 2031 first round pick for Phoenix because all those guys will be gone. So that's why teams will be interested in those first round draft picks. So if Rob comes to them or the Phoenix GM comes to them and offers those picks, you will see some movement because those three picks are extremely wanted by other organizations right now, guys. So I think if you're come in asking for that or willing to give that, I think it does make anyone in play as far as that's concerned, outside of maybe a superstar level player. But it does put into play a lot more than what you could do. Again, the D'Lo expiring contract would have been better to have for numbers wise, but still, those two first rounds pick Joe and those two first round pick Stone, I think those are very, very attractive to those because again, a lot of people don't have faith in Rob as a GM. If we don't, then there's probably a lot of other people out there that think the same way we do, Stone.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Teams are going to want to that's why if you look, the Suns just traded one first round pick for 3. And I saw some people who maybe don't follow basketball as closely be like, why are they trading one first for 3 firsts? Because teams are pinpointing, teams know that there's more value for some first than others. Teams are well aware of this. So those Lakers firsts are pretty valuable, I think, in most GM's eyes. And I would say that they're worth more than people might think. And I do, before we sign, I do want to say the ticker, I love the ticker on the bottom for the faithful that are still here. View the ticker, donate to the ticker. I've had people I know that have been affected by these fires and lost their homes and stuff. So make sure if you can donate to these organizations that are put down there, and hopefully we can help those people out.
Yeah, Ali, it hurts. You've heard me on this show, Ali, for months now. How much this hurts when it comes to Zubats. It just absolutely hurts, and I'll just leave it at that. Just every time I'm happy for him. He is on the Clippers, but I'm happy for him personally that he has signed a big extension and earning every penny of it with these massive double doubles he keeps on having. So he is like borderline all-star right now, but I don't think he'll get in. But Stone, again, great to have you here at report_court and also on Blue Sky. Joe, again, Corrupt on Steam, also as well. LakersBall.com. and of course his company Simblades, simblades.com. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out, my friend?
Stone, you think you'll be available February 6th?
I was looking at the calendar. I work all day that day. The night before and possibly that night, I'll be able to. Not during the day at the deadline, unfortunately.
Because we're doing a massive show on the 6th deadline, but we'll see if we can try and sneak in something with you on the 5th.
Yeah, the 5th at night, or even a recap on the 6th that night. But unfortunately, not the day of.
We'll see what we can do to take care of you, because again, you're such a great part of what we do. Joe Sorrell, fantastic having you here as well. Again, truly appreciate you holding down the fort. You're probably going to have to do it again at the start of tomorrow's post game, because it'll be 7 o'clock for me and I won't be here. So you'll be here to rip on me all you want, if that's the case. But there you go.
You like
Yep, absolutely. He likes it when I'm not here. So I still hear him, but I just what can I do driving like 55, 65, 75 miles an hour on the freeway? What can you do?
Oh, drive 55.
Yep.
You drive 55 on the freeway?
Only in a rush hour traffic. That's all I'll say. Actually, you know what? I drive at the speed limit. That's my story, and I'll stick to it. Although my computer on my car will say otherwise. All right, we got a last minute question from Robert Wheeler. What are the odds of that happening? They're still very high. Do you still feel the Lakers will go 4-2 on this road trip after the win where AD played? Yes, I still would think they'll go 4-2. And if they don't watch out and they lay an egg tomorrow, it will be even worse. So
if they win tomorrow, for sure.
Yeah, if they win tomorrow, it's 4-2 for sure. But if they lay an egg tomorrow, it'll be 3-3. What do you think, Stone?
Yeah, people are not going to like it. I'm going to say 4-3, or sorry, 3-3.
Really?
3-3. Okay.
Yeah.
I still said 4-2. I said 4-2.
That means they're losing tomorrow, according to you. Really?
It's a back-to-back, Joe.
They've been good. They've been good playing on the back end of the back-to-back this year. I think they've only lost one.
I've missed the last month of basketball, so don't take my word too seriously on this. But I'm going to go with 3-3. But hopefully I'm wrong.
Hopefully, with all due respect, you're wrong as well. Joe, how are you feeling on this? You go in the way of Robert? You want thinking 5-1 like he did?
5-1?
He said 5-1 originally before we started on the trip. I remember, Robert.
If they go 5-1, they're going to win tomorrow and they beat Washington, but they'll lose to the Knicks and then beat LA in LA. They're the LA. Then it's
so they're going to fly all the way back. Yeah, they got to fly all the way back from New York, and you're telling them to go ahead and get up for that game.
Well, they're coming home. They're sleeping in their own beds, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think
6-0 means olives, by the way.
Yes, they go 6-0, guys. We said it last night. They finally
cried that out of me.
Yes,
I want it to mean something, guys. I can't just shift it to something else. It has to mean something. You know what I mean?
If they win the championship, does that mean Lakers tattoo?
Hell no. No, never a tattoo.
Well, I already got a Lakers tattoo.
I'll do a tattoo if I'm doing a film. I'll put a fake tattoo, sure. But not in real life, no. I don't do earrings. I don't do tattoos. And I don't do street bikes.
I respect it.
What about olives again? We'll do or something. We'll figure out.
We have to find something better than that.
Yeah,
there's got to be something that's really.
All right.
Yeah, olives. I'm pretty sure most people think I'm full of shit with the olives.
I love olives.
I hate olives. Olives.
Black olives. I can eat the green ones. Black olives is death.
I hate across the board. I hate them.
It's death to me.
You don't even like the stuffed olives, like the jalapeno, the garlic.
I can only eat them with their like a whole bunch of other stuff on a pizza, and like the olives are like intermixed there. But you can like put a pepperoni over them or something like that. So there you go. So
that's me with tomatoes. So I can't.
No, Chris. No, please. No pineapple. I don't know what the hell that is.
Oh, pineapple on pizza is awesome. Yes, I love
it. Belongs.
I got nothing. I got nothing from it when I took a bite. And I was like, what?
Hawaiian
is this?
pizza is awesome. Hawaiian pizza is awesome. Pineapple on pizza, I'm a full in. Oh yes,
Bacon
I
and
know that
pineapple.
I heard that story, but somewhere back that somebody is charging like $20-something extra for pineapple on pizza because they can't stand it so much. So yeah, I'll
here.
leave you with that. Serious, that is a thing. The owner of a pizzeria hates pineapple on pizza so much he will charge you like $20-something extra for it.
That's crazy.
There you go. But we will eat olives if the Lakers go 6-0. There you go.
I'll eat olives just for the fun of it. I'll eat olives if they lose the rest of their games.
There you go. We'll see. Once again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Catch Stone Hansen at report_court. His show, along with the great guys at the Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast, and also on Blue Sky as well. We're on Blue Sky. Go ahead and, I don't know that moniker. Just type in Lakers Fast Break and you'll get it. But Lakers Fast Break on Twitter as well. Want to mention that Joe Sorrell again, Corrupt, COREUPT on Steam. And, of course, Symblates and also LakersBall.com. Robert says if Lakers win the chip, Joe has to say LeBron is GOAT, whether he believes it or not, while wearing a custom T-shirt that says LeBron's GOAT. That's lame, Robert. You should have put.
If Lakers win the championship, Joe has to wear a Bronny jersey for.
That's what I was hoping. Yes, I was just gonna say that, but yeah, Joe has to put on a Bronny jersey. There you go. All right, and with that, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much again for joining us. You got 2.5 hours of today. What will you get from us tomorrow? Including the 5 hours of Lakers coverage today. How much more will we get tomorrow? We'll find out as the Lakers head into Philly to face off against the Sixers, and we'll bring it to you right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.